22nd consecutive season of NASCAR coverage on Turner Sports. Today, the Hershey's Kissables 300 on TNT. Spectacular day here in Daytona. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us in for the race. Bill Weber along with Wally Dellenbach and Benny Parsons. So, we've been waiting around. We finally get to start the season. Everybody's all revved up. What are we going to see today?
Well, I think we're going to see a couple of things. I think, number one, competitive and interesting. First interesting part, we have 18 Cup drivers in this race. They decided to work today rather than take the day off. We have 8 rookies that have never raced here in Daytona before. Now throw the other 17 drivers in, and we could have a very interesting race. The second part, the competitive part, these cars have a different aero package than the Nextel Cup cars. They have a roof rail across the top and also a lip on the rear spoiler. Both these things create drag, making passing easier on these cars. That does put a lot of pressure on those guys without a lot of experience.
It sure does, and experience is a big factor in this race. We were talking earlier in the week, everyone's concerned about the big wreck in the Daytona 500, but there should be a lot of concern about it today because of the experience in this field.
Or inexperience.
Right.
So there's a lot of guys that have never raced here, not a lot of guys that bump draft. Bump drafting is something we've been talking about all week, and there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. You got to be careful when you're bump drafting. This is a wrong way to do it. You don't want to nail a guy in front of you that's going to push him into somebody else and get him sideways. The only reason that wasn't a wreck is because Schrader loves to drive sideways, and he's good at saving a race car. He's in the 66 car. This is the proper way. You see Jimmy Johnson just tapping Earnhardt past the 17 car of Matt Kenseth. The right way to do it. He'll lay off that bumper before they get to the corner. If you start leaning on guys going through the corner, if you start hitting their bumpers in the corner, you're going to see a wreck, and we've got some inexperience here, so we got to keep our eyes open for that.
300 miles today for the stars of the NASCAR Busch Series and those guys that came over from the Nextel Cup garage. Let's go trackside and get the command.
Race fans, we now welcome Brian Bosnick, Area Vice President for CVS Pharmacy, and today's honorary Hershey's Kissables 300 Grand Marshal, Jessica Jones. Jessica and Brian, will you do us the honors?
Gentlemen, start your engines.
This is the moment these drivers, their teams, and the fans have been waiting for on a beautiful day in Daytona. The season opener for the NASCAR Busch Series. The starting grid and the start of the race coming up. The cars have come to life on pit road, 43 of them answering the command to start engines. Momentarily, they will roll off of pit road onto the track, and then 300 miles to determine the first winner of the Busch season in 2006. Here's the starting grid for the Hershey's Kissables 300. J.J. Yaley has the pole for the first time, along with Aaron Fike on the front row. Clint Boyer doing double duty this year. Johnny Sauter in row 2. Row 3, John Andretti, a rookie in this race, and Elliott Sadler.
In row 4 on the inside, experienced Joe Nemechek. Daniel Quinn on the outside, his first race. Kyle Busch, Greg Biffle, couple Cup drivers in 5. Carl Edwards, Casey Kane, more Cup drivers in 6.
In row 7, we've got Reed Sorensen on the inside, Paul Menard on the outside, Jeff Burton, our pole setter for the Daytona 500. Row 8, Tony Stewart, won this race last year. Kevin Harvick and Bud Shootout winner, Denny Hamlin.
In row 10, rookie Todd Cleaver alongside Dale Earnhardt Jr. Bernie Lamar and Tim Sauter in row 11. Row 12, former series champion David Green and Jason Leffler.
Inside of row 13 is Mark McFarland driving for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Brian Pickers on the outside, Jason Keller, Stedman Marlin, Kenny Schrader, and Kenny Wallace back in row 15.
Row 16, we have Stacy Compton, Regan Smith, A.J. Foyt, the 4th. John Wood is on the outside of row 17 with Ashton Lewis Jr. and Jamie McMurray coming from deep in the field.
Row 19, open wheel star Paul Tracy in the 34 car next to David Rudiman. Tracy Hines shares row 20 with Donnie Neuenberger. Row 21, Mark Green and Michael Waltrip. And starting shotgun on the field, former series champion Steve Grissom. While he's on the radio, who are you hunting for?
Let's see if we can get a hold of Carl. Hey, Carl Edwards, this is Wally up in the booth. Can you hear me?
Clear, Wally.
Well, this track is going to be hot and slick. It's going to be like Darlington. Are you ready for it today?
Hey, man, that's one of my favorite places, Darlington. I hope it's hot and slick. That'll be a lot of fun for us.
Now, we were told you're going to be starting from the rear. What's up with that?
I don't know the whole story, and I don't think I want to. I guess the old AmeriQuest Fusion, we didn't have the hubcaps on the rear or something for qualifying, just a little mistake. But I got faith in my crew, and I think we're going to have a great race, and hope we put on a good show for everybody up there at AmeriQuest booth.
Well, it's going to be fun watching you work your way back up to the front. Good luck.
Thanks a lot. I hope you guys enjoy us as much as I do, man. This is going to be a great race.
Thanks, Carl. We certainly will. And so will the fans at home and here at Daytona. The field warming up the engines on the racetrack. The green flag coming up next on TNT. TNT Sports live at the Daytona International Speedway in Florida for the Hershey's Kissables 300, the first race of 2006 for the NASCAR Busch Series. Final stories from pit road, and Marty bats first.
Well, Bill, you are looking in the number 10 car at John Andretti. Yes, the same John Andretti with 300-plus Cup starts and a couple of Cup Series wins. But on the rear bumper, yes, that is a yellow stripe. John Andretti is a rookie here in the Busch Series. Just his second career Busch Series start. Actually, the other one came right here in this race back in 1998. Now, John is running for Rookie of the Year, believe it or not, in the Busch Series, planning to run all these races this year. Told me he doesn't have a lot of drafting experience in this car. They came down here, didn't have a spot in the field, so they spent most of their practice time on qualifying. So the draft will be something new for John Andretti, and this rookie hopes to do well today. Matt?
Marty, a couple first-timers on the front row. J.J. Yaley scoring his first ever NASCAR Busch Series pole, and Aaron Fike, his best ever NASCAR Busch Series start. Now, Yaley told me that his car is awesome. He can drive it anywhere on the racetrack, unlike his Nextel Cup car. But an interesting conversation between the two front row starters. Fike told Yaley, I'm thinking about getting in the gas about 30 feet or so before the start or restart line. And JJ says, well, you do know what happens if you do that, don't you? And you beat me to the start-finish line? And Aaron says, no. He goes, well, that means you'll get the black flag because I have to get there first. He's like, I didn't know that because it's a new experience for both of them. Keep an eye on that front row today. Today, Burns.
Matty, it's a familiar series for Clint Boyer. He's running in both today's race and tomorrow's race. When he runs for his Nextel Cup car, it's got rookie stripes on the back of it, just like Marty talked about with John Andretti. That's because it's his first year in full Nextel Cup competition. But he's run many laps in the Busch Series already, having been last year's runner-up to the championship. As many laps as he's had between both cars here at Daytona this week, he feels like he knows the place, and especially in this Busch car, can contend for this race, and hopefully in 2006, contend for the Busch Series championship. Alan?
Well, the field for today's race is a very interesting mix, from 50-year-old Ken Schrader making his 91st Daytona start to a quartet of 20-something-year-olds getting their first Daytona racing experiences. They're all after the same thing, a chance to stand in victory lane and hold a winner's trophy from Daytona. One of these 43 drivers gets the chance this afternoon. It's the 300 miles between now and then. That's the fun part for all of us. Bill?
Thanks, Alan. You guys enjoy the race down there this afternoon. Who will rock Daytona? Follow the action live with NASCAR.com's Track Pass. And don't miss a single move made by your favorite driver. For a special preseason pricing on Track Pass, just go to NASCAR.com. Half a lap to go, Benny. What are the drivers thinking?
Well, those 8 rookies that haven't been to Daytona before, they are a bundle of nerves because they really and truly don't know what's going to happen when these cars get down in turn one, especially the second time by when they're up to about 190 miles per hour.
It'll take about a lap and a half to get up to speed, huh, Wally?
Yeah, but they'll be 3 abreast before they get to turn 3 on the first lap, I bet.
And the spotter will be screaming at them. Inside, outside, you're in the middle.
Spotter's got his work cut out for him here, doesn't he, BP?
It's a very tough place to be a spotter. As a matter of fact, it takes 2. There's one on the front stretch on the roof. They also place spotters off turn 2.